Welcome to Lesson 1, Setting up the Circuit Playground Express on a Windows PC. In this video, we're going to go through an unboxing of the base kit, discuss the requirements to establish the software and hardware connections between our PC and our Circuit Playground Express, and we're going to conclude with a small program to ensure that our PC is communicating with our Circuit Playground Express. So let's get to it. So here's our Circuit Playground Express base kit, which comes with a container, a battery holder with 3 AAA batteries, which is what would be required to power this if you weren't connected to a computer. We have a micro USB to USB cable, data cable, not just power, but data cable, which will allow us to connect the Circuit Playground Express to our PC to power it, but also to send the program through the cable. So that's important. This has to be a data cable, not just a power cable. So this is the base kit. So in order for us to start working with the Circuit Playground Express, we have to load up some software. If you go to your favorite search engine and search for Arduino Ide, you'll come to this website, arduino.cc. Now, what is an IDE? An IDE is an integrated development environment. It's a program to assist you in writing your applications and running your applications. So for instance, if you were doing mobile development, video game development, website development, or in our case, physical computing, you will work with a particular IDE, which will help us in writing the applications and also running them. This Arduino IDE comes with multiple options, so you can run it on a Windows computer, you can run it on a Linux computer, as well as a Mac OS. This video is going to focus on the Windows one. So I clicked on the first one. You're more than welcome to try the Windows app. I personally like this one, which is the actual installer. This next part I'm going to do via slides because I've already gone through the installation of the Arduino IDE on my computer. If you allow me, I'm going to switch on over. And so once you've downloaded it, it's going to get stored in whatever folder your downloads go. Again, if you're familiar with installing software on a Windows computer, you double click on it, it runs the setup program, which goes through quite a few screens. So you're going to hit OK, hit the checks, hit next, choose the location of where you want the program to be stored. It's going to go through the extraction, installation part. This could get a little lengthy, so be patient. At some point it might look like it freezes, but it's just taking a little bit of time to install the program. In addition to the software, they also have to install drivers because, again, this is a USB device from the perspective of the computer. So in that Arduino IDE setup, you're also going to install USB drivers. So you'll have to hit a couple of times, install, get through it, and then finally we get to this beautiful screen that says installation complete. All right, so what I'm going to step out for a second into the actual point, and then I'm going to come back to the slide. So what happens when you've done that? Well, you're going to get a nice little icon on your desktop, as well as in your menu folder. So let's open this up. And this is what the Arduino IDE looks like. It's very small, but very powerful. It's going to do everything that we want it to do. Now, Arduino is a platform, and there's many circuit boards that have been used that have their own spin on it. They're all Arduino boards. So this IDE can communicate with any of these boards, but you have to make sure that your board is identified. And that's why I'm going to go back to the slides for a second. All right, so we're here. So we have to tell the Arduino IDE, the Integrated Development Environment, that we will be communicating with a Circuit Playground Express. So in order to do that, we would click on Tools, which brings us to a menu of different things we can do. We're going to focus on this part right here. This is extremely important. So by default, the Arduino IDE is looking to communicate with an Arduino called an Uno. And you can see here there's a bunch of different other Arduino type boards that you can work with. And if you look down at the bottom, you might even be tempted to say, oh, wait a minute, the Circuit Playground is here. This is technically the older version of the Circuit Playground. Notice it's missing the word Express. So please do not click on this one. This one will not work with the Circuit Playground Express. This is just the Circuit Playground. So in order to install the board that we need, we're going to click on Board Manager. So on Board Manager, you're going to get this screen where we can now type in the type of board we have, which is the Circuit Playground Express. Once you hit enter, you're going to come up with this package, and you'll see here at the very bottom, Ide Circuit Playground, Adafruit Circuit Playground Express. So this package is going to provide us the necessary connection to our Circuit Playground Express. So go ahead and hit install on that one. And this might also be a rather lengthy installation. It took about 5 minutes. And at one point, it even looked like it stalled. When you look at the bottom, be patient, it is installing it. So once you get through all that, and you go back to Tools now, when you go to the board, you're going to see that there's two options now. Now, if you click on the Arduino AVR, you're going to see all those other boards we saw earlier. But now you're going to see another category that allows us to select the Adafruit Circuit Playground Express. This is what we want. So anytime you start up your Arduino IDE, always make sure that the Ide Circuit Playground Express is selected as the board. If it's not, you're going to run into problems trying to communicate with it. The next part that we're going to do, I can actually do live now. So let me just show you on the live version. Here's the Circuit Playground Express. It has been selected. Here are all those other boards that we had originally. But we want to make sure that this one is selected. And once you select it once, it rarely loses the board. But if it does, now you know how to reselect it if you need to. This is only part of the hardware connection that you need to, the hardware setup that you need to do. The next part is the port. Now, in order to do that, I'm going to pull up my camera again. Make it a little smaller. It doesn't need to take up so much space. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take our Circuit Playground Express and we're going to grab the micro USB connection. Now, there's two types of connections here that look like they might be viable for the micro USB. There's the black connection at the very top, and there's a silver connection at the bottom. The black connection at the top is meant to connect to the battery pack as an alternative power source. Though this looks like it might fit in the black connection, don't try it. It doesn't fit. I have seen students try to jam it in there. This fits nicely in the silver connection, which is the micro USB on that side. So you connect it on this side. The other end, the USB connection, will connect to your PC. So make sure that you have a PC that has a USB connection. So for instance, I think, I don't remember exactly, but perhaps a Surface, Microsoft Surface, might not have a USB port. So you may need to get an adapter in order to connect this side to your PC. So that is a requirement. It's also seen on the Mac side, where if you had a Thunderbolt connection, you would need a Thunderbolt to USB adapter in order to connect it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this side and connect it to my PC. And first thing that you're going to notice is that it is receiving power, and whatever program was stored on your circuit playground will run. All right, so you can see here we got light. On the IDE side, we have to make sure that we get connected. So now that I've connected, you'll notice that the port is now active where we can actually select something. So you're going to want to select the COM port that has your Ide Circuit Playground Express. So I'm going to click this one, and just to go back in, this is what you should be seeing when you first start up your Arduino IDE. The fact that the right board is selected and that you're communicating on that particular port. So now that we have our hardware set up, we have our software set up, we are now ready to run some code. Now let me do this. I feel like that's a little bit too small for you to see. So let me go ahead and increase the font size. So in order to get this to work, what we're going to do is, and I'm going to just minimize this. We don't need to see this just yet. We need to bring in a library. Now, what exactly is a library? Think of it like when you go to school. A library is full of a lot of resources that you can take out and learn and use. Well, in programming, a library does the same thing. So we're going to use either the pound sign, the hashtag, or the number symbol. However you want to call this. It's the thing that's over the 3, again, depending on what generation you're in. So I'm going to call it the pound sign. So you can do the pound sign and then the word include. So this is going to allow us to bring in a library, resources. Now, Adafruit has been nice enough to provide a library for us, a library of resources that we can use in order to work with the Circuit Playground Express. So the library is called Adafruit_circuitplayground.h. And then you do the less than sign and greater than sign. I'm just going to call these brackets. If you're new to programming, you need to pay attention to the capitalization. Capitalization is important. If you don't capitalize commands, instructions the right way, the computer won't understand them. So this is capital A, capital C, capital P. We are bringing in the Adafruit Circuit Playground Express library, which is going to ease our interaction with the Circuit Playground Express device. The next thing you'll see here in our sample code is 2 functions. And again, we're going to learn more about functions in future videos. Right now, just realize that these are 2 sections in our program where we can write code. The code that we write in the setup, as you see here in the comment, is only meant to be ran once. So here's where we might do things such as, circuit playground dot begin. So we're telling the computer to start our circuit playground. And again, it's that easy. You'll notice the capital C and the capital P. All your future programs will always have this library brought in, and in your setup, you got to start up the Circuit Playground Express. Hopefully it seems kind of obvious. That's what you need to do. Now we're moving on to our other function called the loop. So in this function, this is where your main code's going to go. This is where all the logic, the algorithms, all the cool things that you're going to do with Circuit Playground Express, that code's going to go here. So let's see how we can modify one of the neopixels. Now in a future lesson, you're going to learn more about these commands, you're going to learn more about the Circuit Playground. Right now what I want to do is I want to give you enough just to test out your connection to your Circuit Playground Express. So there is a command. I'm going to bring back up the camera. There is a command, the set pixel color, which will allow us to change the colors of our neopixels. Our neopixels are those little white dots that are around our Circuit Playground Express. Those are actually little lights. So the way the set pixel color works is that it takes a position. And right now the red is at position 0. So we're going to do the same thing here. So we're going to change our position 0. Let's say from red to a different color. Now what comes afterwards is a 3-number combination that represents a color, RGB. Again, I don't want to go into a full lesson. There is a full lesson on this when you get to lesson 2. So we're simply right now we're going to say a 0 for the amount of red, 0 for the amount of green, and full amount of blue. Alright, so now that we've written our code, we need to get our code onto the Circuit Playground Express. The 2 buttons you have up here, one's called Verify and one's called Upload. What verifying does is that it's going to save your program in addition to also verifying that your code is correct. So it's going to go through a little process here. If we have any error messages, they will pop up in this little black area down here. And if there are no errors, it's going to look like this, just some white letters, so just saying how much information has been used on the Circuit Playground Express. But more importantly, you're going to see done compiling. Again, if you did have an error, you would see it here. Now at this point, this is just verifying our program. We actually have to upload it to the Circuit Playground Express. Now I want you to pay attention. Right now the NeoPixel is red. So when we upload it, it should turn to blue. And again, you're going to see some things pop up. That's okay. And you'll see done uploading. And it'll tell you how much time it took. So if you look a little closer now, that first NeoPixel is no longer red, it is now blue. So if you were able to accomplish that, then you have installed the Arduino Ide properly, you've identified the hardware in terms of the board and the port, and you wrote the first quote-unquote hello world program in physical computing without any syntax errors. So let's go back to our presentation and let's review what we've done today. So in this video, we went through an unboxing of the base kit of the Circuit Playground Express. We saw how to set up the software, the Arduino Ide, and we saw that we needed to also identify the board, the hardware, as well as the port in which we're communicating with that hardware. We ran a quick test code that allowed us to explore the concept of a library, as well as the 2 functions that come in that sample template, which is the void setup and the void loop. Hopefully you're excited about what you can do with physical computing, and look forward to seeing what the future lessons hold. Enjoy.